Hey Priscilla, thank you for joining this therapy session today. Could you tell me what's brought you in?
Yes, I've been having issues with anxiety and being in like enclosed spaces. And I'm struggling coping with those.
So you're telling me that you're feeling anxiety about being in enclosed spaces and
Being confined.
being confined.
hmm
Could you give me an example of something
So
of a
like
time you felt?
so like I have to go to this perinatal group to get ultrasounds once a week. And when I go to these ultrasounds, the rooms are really, really small and it's really hot in there and they want to close the door. So I feel like I'm really confined in there and it throws me into an anxiety attack.
So you feel like um, when you go to this perinatal group, you feel confined, and what kind of like physical symptoms do you have?
Like I lay when they have me lay on these beds, like I get really hot and like my body feels like it's gonna like shut down and I start getting like squirmy and I want out of that room.
So do you feel this in any enclosed space that you are in?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay. So how do you feel when you have to unexpectedly go into an enclosed space? Like there's no option that you have to do it.
So I try to plan it out and I just tell myself that there's no way out, that I have to do this. It's something that has to be done. So I just try to like walk myself through it.
So you just like talk to yourself.
Pretty much and tell myself, it's only going to be for a minute. You can handle it just for a minute.
Does that ease your anxiety at all?
Somewhat, yes, until I get in there, and then it's like I want out of there. But I just tell myself it's going to be okay.
How often do you experience this?
Well, I mean, it happens frequently. It's been going on for a while now.
What has led it to be going on for a while?
Um, well, it's intensified since I have to go to this one particular place now every week.
This is because you're pregnant and you have to do the.
Yes, the ultrasounds at the perinatal group.
Oh, okay. So, how have you been coping with the anxiety that you're experiencing that's brought you into therapy?
Um, so So I just cope with it by, basically just, telling myself, there's no way out. Like, it's just, it's something that I have to deal with. So that's why I'm coming to you to maybe see if it helps to talk to someone about it. Get maybe someone else's, like, view of what they think or how could I control it.
So, when you talk to yourself in those moments, those physical symptoms that you mentioned, the feeling like you're hot, feeling like there's no way to escape, does that like decrease at all to where you're able to like not feel it at all, or like those symptoms have lessened?
No.
It doesn't. So is that what you feel like maybe has brought you here today?
Yes.
Besides what you told me about telling yourself that you just have to get through it, have you tried any other coping strategies?
No, I've talked to a doctor before. They wanted to put me on medication, but I don't do medication, so I just cope with it myself and just try to just learn to deal with it and hope in one day that it would get better.
What has you why haven't you, what, sorry, need to phrase this question correctly. What's your biggest obstacle in, being okay with taking medication for your anxiety?
Because I throw myself into a panic attack before I even take the medication. So that's why I refuse to take it, is because I think about it and think about all the side effects and before I take the medicine. So if I was to take it, I would swear I was going to have the side effects regardless if I am or not. So I refuse to take medicine.
So you're not, you don't feel like taking medication would provide more negative effects for you than positive?
Yes.
So can you tell me about a time when you weren't experiencing this major anxiety in your life?
Yes. So I got a new doctor, my baby doctor, and she has been really nice and understanding. I explained to her on the first visit about my anxiety and being enclosed in the room, and she has really worked with me on that. So she has made me feel really comfortable, so it has helped.
What steps has she put in place to ease your anxiety?
She's offered to leave the door open. She asked me if I'm okay. She just, tries to talk to me, and, she just makes me comfortable because I work for her.
So you don't feel any of the anxiety that you feel in her room than you feel in that perinatal group, or if you feel in an elevator or an enclosed space?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Okay.
And even going to her ultrasound place, it don't bother me being in there.
Have you talked to the doctors at the perinatal group or about opening the door?
Yeah, they'll leave the door open for me, but they want to crack it. But it's still just so hot in there, and it's just uncomfortable, and they don't make it comfortable at all, I don't feel like.
So what do you think would make you comfortable in that room?
If they would maybe have a cooler in there, more like a relaxing type setting, and not make you feel so confined. And plus, they don't really say much. They're quiet. It's just not a comfortable atmosphere in there.
Has there been any other time in your life where you haven't experienced this anxiety?
Yeah, well, I have it at my job sometimes.
You haven't at your job?
I have at my job sometimes. When I'm there by myself and I get 3 or 4 people that come in the store at one time and I'm confined behind the register, then I get anxiety like that.
Okay. Has there been a time when you haven't had this anxiety that you mentioned?
Before I had Brianna, my first daughter, I didn't have anxiety. I didn't develop anxiety until she was 3.
What was going on in your life at that point that
I was a stay-at-home mom. I hardly ever left the house. I didn't have a car, driver's license, so it was like I was just confined to my house. And I just started once I would leave the house and go and do stuff, it was just different. I started experiencing anxiety.
so you didn't really experience that type of anxiety until you were postpartum when Brianna, your daughter, was 3 years old?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What have people close to you told you about what they see when you experience this?
I've had some friends that have told me I was mean. I've had some of my coworkers, when I feel like anxiety and panic attacks come in, I get real antsy, so I kind of get like a little rude, and so I've been told that I was very rude when I really don't mean to be.
Okay. How do you feel about what they feel?
I mean, obviously it hurts your feelings.
Do you see them as what they're saying is accurate or not accurate?
Yeah,
Accurate?
yeah,
Oh, okay. So do you have any important relationships in your life?
yeah, with my friends and my husband and my kids.
Okay. What is it like growing up in your family as a child?
Mm, I mean, it's been rough, but I don't want to elaborate on that.
Would you say you had a difficult childhood?
Somewhat, yes.
Did you experience this anxiety at all as a child?
No. Mm-mm.
Did you experience anxiety
Not.
that was different from what you're experiencing now?
Mm-mm. Nope. It's just remains since sometimes it comes and goes, sometimes it's more intense, sometimes it's not, and sometimes I don't have anxiety.
Do you set positive goals for yourself at work?
Yes, I tell myself that I want to be able to work myself up to work like a whole shift alone and be able to handle it.
Have you been able to accomplish that goal?
Not a full shift. I've accomplished like an hour or two by myself.
What happens that's your biggest obstacle to working an entire shift on your own?
So it starts making me like kind of antsy if when people come up to the register and like if I got to run to the bathroom, I can't. So then that makes me start like panicky because I'm like I gotta go to the bathroom, but I can't because I got all these people standing at the register and I'm by myself.
So you feel like you need to rush to the restroom and you wouldn't be able to because there's customers in the store,
Yes,
and you feel like you have to be behind the register, that you can't go use the restroom.
yes.
What makes you feel like you can't use the restroom?
Well, because I feel like if I run to the restroom, then I come back out and I'm gonna have all these people just standing at my register, just staring at me. So it's almost kind of like a kind of being embarrassed, but not. But then start kind of like heart racing because you're wondering what all these customers are thinking because I wasn't right there when they were ready.
What do you think that they think if you were to play that scenario out in your head? What do you think that they would think about you?
Uh, that maybe I'm lazy or I don't know my job or what's going on or just don't care about them as customers or not paying attention.
Okay, so you feel like your anxiety comes from in your work life is that you feel that they are thinking that you are lazy, that you don't know your job because you went to the restroom.
I mean, they don't really know where I went. I just disappeared. I don't tell them, hey, I'm running to the restroom. So to them, they don't know where I disappeared to.
Have you ever tried to change your thinking into thinking that maybe they think that you're in the restroom and that you're using the bathroom?
No, no. I mean, no, but I would be more embarrassed to go to, hey, I'm going to the bathroom and then be in there for 15, 20 minutes and then them be like, well, where'd this girl go or something like
Okay. So you say that in the past it's helped to cope by just telling yourself to get through it. So
Mhm.
for that hour that you're there at the shoe store on your own, how do you cope with that where the hour turns into maybe 2 hours or maybe an hour and 30 minutes?
Because I try not to look at the clock and think about the time. I just try to focus on, I'll go out on the floor and like maybe straighten boxes or vacuum versus just sit there just staring at the clock, waiting for the next coworker to come in.
So they're like using distraction techniques to
Mhm.
help you through the. Do you think that you could, do you think it would be possible to increase that hour that you're on your own to more?
Possibly, yeah.
Do
I
you
would
think,
like to
when do you work next?
tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Hmm.
Do you think that you could, what would be too much for you to be at the shoe store on your own? Like there's something where you'd be like, I just can't handle that.
I
Or
couldn't work a whole 9-hour shift by myself.
what would be manageable, do you think, for you?
I could probably work a half of a shift, like from open to maybe like 1 or 2, maybe through lunch, something like that.
Do you think that that would be reasonable to do?
Yeah.
Do you think it'd be reasonable to do on your next work shift?
If if I could, yeah. But right now, it's not, right now, we've got a full crew, so I haven't been put in that situation yet because we finally got help.
If you were put in that situation, how do you think that you would put how you've coped with it in the past to how you cope with how you would cope with it in the future?
I just have to try it. I just need to face it and just let the time come and just deal with it.
I know what helps with a lot of people is, have you tried doing a breathing technique or
No.
like
Mm-mm.
whenever you're feeling that anxiety,
No.
go in through your nose and out through your mouth?
No, I just always make sure I got something really cold to drink and a fan blowing. That way, if I get hot, I've got air blowing on me.
Do you think that that would help you if you had to work that half a shift on your own?
Yeah, as long as I've got something ice cold and a fan or something blowing right there, I think that would it would help.
Alrighty, well, I just want to thank you for coming in, and we're going to keep on working on this. And I just want us to touch base in 2 weeks over how, if you were able to implement trying the breathing techniques when you work by yourself, and then trying to increase that by the next time we see each other. By um, you said half a shift is manageable for your first.
Yes.
Okay, half a shift on your own,
Hmm.
implementing your measures that you would make you feel comfortable, but also trying to breathe through it, especially when you said you feel like you need to go to the bathroom, and you're thinking that the customers are gonna look at you a certain way or think a certain way about you that's negative.
Hmm.
Training your mind to think that, well, maybe there's a different thought. Maybe they're thinking that I just went to the bathroom.
Hmm.
Maybe they're not thinking at all that maybe they're thinking that you're stacking boxes in the back.
It's just all in my head of what I think, of what they're thinking.
So your behavior, your mind, or your behavior, your thinking, and the way that you act are all connected to each other. So sometimes, you could think that, you could have anxiety over somebody not liking you. And then you think, well, what have they shown me to show that they don't like me? Well, they don't talk to me in the mornings. And that's what you say, is that they don't like me because they don't talk to me in the mornings, and therefore I feel anger and I feel hurt towards them because they don't talk to me in the mornings. But really, if you change your thinking, you could say, well, maybe they're tired in the mornings and they don't talk to anybody. If you look at it in a different way, they don't talk to Tom, Jerry, and
Right.
Tim, or that it's just kind of thinking how your behavior and your actions, your mind, and your emotions all intertwine to bring this outcome, your anxiety. So just keeping that in thought when you're going through your coping.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Uh-huh.